And we're back, dear viewers, to welcome our second guest in tonight's episode of Hala Kuwait. With us, we'd like to welcome our motivation speaker, Mr. Ramadan. So we're really happy to have you here.
Well, it goes the both ways. Thank you so much. I'm a huge fan of this show. It's an honorable opportunity to be with this great team, great studio, great audience, great channel. So it's an honorable opportunity for me to be here.
Yes, and of course, it's our pleasure having you here today to talk about, let's say, your amazing book and let's say, talking about yourself. And let's start with giving a brief introduction about your background for the audience.
I come from a background where we believe that we live for the service of others. And I come from a place where we think that happiness comes not from what you have, but from how much you give. Having this said, I was raised with the values and morals of serving other people. And as Gandhi once said, if you know that, we find ourselves when we lose ourselves in the service of others. So this is totally what I believe in, being raised on, and that's what I do on a daily basis.
Yes.
That's my purely background comes from.
Yes, and of course that's really, let's say, an amazing background when it comes into, let's say, all of what you just said and about, let's say, serving others. Like we rarely hear this from, let's say, people in the surrounding.
I believe that we came to this world not to just exist, but to contribute as well. So we live to give. That's what I follow in my background.
Yes, indeed. That's really amazing when it comes into that matter. Yes.
I'm humbled.
So talking about, let's say, having your book and talking about it more, maybe you'd like also to introduce it to the audience.
This book comes from the idea of, I was asked last night if this book is going to make me successful, and the answer is always absolutely not. This book will help you, will give you the path, the track that you're lost in. If you're doing something and you feel lost, having those tips, having these stories said in the book will help you get back in aligned where you want to be to where you want to achieve. So it's basically targeted for people who are struggling, wants to overcome barriers, struggles, depressions and anxieties, envy, jealousy, ego. All those elements are mentioned in the book, and I hope that it could help some people around.
Yes. So talking about the objectives of the book, like we can know that the main purpose of the book is to guide people to go back in the path itself when it comes into achieving, let's say, their life, their goals, and so on. But when it comes into you finding this book and writing about it, like what was the reason behind it? Let's say
the reason was when I first applied for this book. The first question I was asked that what are you expecting out of this book? And my aim, my value, my vision in life is just to live in this world and make it a better place. And I believe that I could be the person that could contribute in changing this world for some people around. The objective is changing one's life. It doesn't matter how many we're changing, as long as we're changing some people's life. That was the objective mainly for the book. And when I was asked about the financial return for the book, I disagreed for having any financials, and that question was like, wait a minute, you're writing a book that took energy, time, work from you, asking for nothing in return. And again, the aim was to raise the awareness, maturity of people to help them achieve success, and that's the main cover title of the book that I wrote on the book, that this book won't make you successful. It will help you to raise the awareness, maturity that will help you achieve success. So that was the objective of the book.
Yes. So having this, let's say, purpose of writing and not having something in, let's say, return, and not making you actually, let's say, successful, I think this is all the criteria of the writer himself. The writer writes not in order for him to be rich or, let's say, to take the incomes out of his book, but to produce a book that is enjoyable for the person to read and also educate him and spread awareness when it comes into any kind of, let's say, matter in his life, let's say, whether it was, let's say, raising the imaginary part, raising, let's say, the faith part, or let's say, raising the part of awareness when it comes into living your life and living in the surroundings. So, mashallah, having this within yourself is really amazing. So hopefully, let's say, wish you all the best when it comes to that.
Thank you. Likewise to you. Yes. I wish you the same thing.
Yes. So let's say, talking about the, as you said, the main purpose of you writing this book is to guide people. So So moving around towards, let's say, your inspiration, what made you write this book and inspired you, let's say, in all of the materials that's in it to produce it?
Many elements inspired me, but mainly the progress that I saw in myself, the development, the change that I have noticed within myself, and the people that they have noticed in me, made me know that I'm on the right path, because things started to change to the better. The aim was always to move from good to better to best. And the other most important element that helped me achieve this success was the criticism and the disbelievers that disbelieved in me writing this book. And they were like, you're not even educated, before having the idea of writing this book. So it inspired me because of the criticism that I received. I had my university degree and I did this book. So it kind of, the pressure and all the things that came into, I've transformed all this negativity into having this book to be successful. I always think big. I start small, but I have a big vision, and that's what I always advise people. If you think big and you put in the small pieces and puzzles, you will achieve the big goal in the end. And that's how it started.
Yes, so I really do agree with you on that point. You have to always have a bigger picture. Let's say, look through the picture itself from a different perspective. Don't look at it as, let's say, a portrait and that's it, but look into the details, look into, let's say, the specific things. So looking through life from a, let's say, different perspective is really important. So the book title is Road to Success, and you said that this book actually, one of the reasons that, let's say, you finish your education is because of, let's say, the people who criticizes you about writing this book. So how do you feel people are the ones who are, let's say, going to challenge you in buying this book? Because we know these books are, let's say, the ones who take you to the right path, take you to the success path, is a lot. So to stand and look through the shelves and I have, let's say, to see this book and pick it, how challenging do you think people are going to be when it comes into that?
I think that people who are seeking success, people who are seeking to develop their own skills, abilities and capabilities, when they try to research and find this book, I would be more than happy if they could find a better book that will help them reach success as well. It doesn't matter if it is this book or not. I gave this book for some people around, and the feedback that I received was really good, and that enhanced me, that I know I have done something good. But again, if out of 1 million book, someone chose another books and they still succeeded in their life, I would be more than happy than buying this book.
Yes, well, of course, again, I hopefully, let's say, wish that everyone who is watching us today will give this book, let's say, a chance to read, let's say, a review at least about, and inshallah, it will be, let's say, helpful for them, because as I can see, and especially that you said, this book actually, let's say, for you to write actually made you achieve lots of success, so why not? It could be, let's say, something, let's say, helpful. So, of course, when it comes into publishing a book and preparing a book, it needs a lot of, let's say, preparation, lots of years to handle maybe, and so on. So, for you to work on this piece, how long did it take for you to prepare it?
It took me around 2.5 to 3 years to write it down. And it was written in the simplest, basic English language. There is not much of complicated verbs, grammars, and these things, because I wanted to have access to everyone around. And if I would write this book again today, maybe I would have changed lots of words, but I'm happy it is the simplest book I've ever written in my life. When I read it, I feel like it's a normal English, and people who read it the past few days, I received the same feedback from them. They were like, it's very simple. We were able to understand all the grammar, the terms, and the elements in it.
And that's the most important thing, finding simple books for people to actually find it easy to read, and also, again, to understand and practice this in life is really important.
This is true.
So let's say, giving a last advice for the audience who wants to, let's say, read this book, what words would you like to give them? I
would like to give each and every person on this life the best contribution of information, knowledge, and experience. It's not easy, I know, it's difficult, it's challenging, but the result will be worth in the end. And what I always advise people to do is not to listen to people's opinion, because everyone will have to be criticized one day. If you get successful, you'll be criticized. If not, no one will care about you. And the advice I always give to people, just to let them move on, is even God has disbelievers. And even our prophets have people that disagreed with them.
Indeed.
So expect it from normal people to normal humans like us.
Indeed,
That's the best
yes.
advice I could give to people.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so
It was
much.
a pleasure having you
I'm blessed.
here.
It goes both ways. Thank you so
Yes,
much for
thank
having
you.
me.
So, dear viewers, that was our guest, motivation speaker, Mr. Ramadan. So, hopefully, you enjoyed watching us. With that, we're going to head to our report, which is going to be about the Austrian National Day. So, hopefully, you'll enjoy watching it.